Good morning. All right. Good morning. I think I might have to turn my music down. The technology is so amazing that we can actually, like, my phone is playing and my music is actually playing from my phone too. So give me a second. Let me turn this down. Okay, perfect. Okay, how you doing? Okay, the music has not gone down. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, I think that worked. Okay, great. Hi, how y'all doing? Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so excited to be here. Um, this full moon energy is really interesting. I am, I'm sort of having an interesting experience because I'm becoming really aware. The Taurus energy is about our sensory body, really is about our body, our senses, and one of the things that I'm aware of as a woman and as a human being on the planet at this time is that we have been taught not to believe what we feel. We've been taught to override our senses. We've been taught, like when I was growing up, I would feel things and, I could sense things and, I could hear things. And you're just taught that that's crazy. You're taught that, oh, that's not right. Like I know as a child how I experienced that is, I might, um, let me use this as an example. My son he's diagnosed, he has an extra chromosome, right? They call it Down syndrome, but it's trisomy 21, whatever it is. It's an extra chromosome. And he can feel energy. He can, and many of us are that way. We're very sensitive, empathic, and we can feel things. So there was a time I started him at a surf camp, and the person who was going to be his camp counselor was a woman who was presenting as a man, right? So she was probably 19, but she looked very masculine, even though she was a woman. And my son kept referring to her as he, and she didn't want to be referred to as he. But my son could feel what she wasn't saying. And many of us are that way. We are so empathic that we can feel the um, the indiscretions in the energetics, right? We can feel like sometimes people are saying one thing, but they're really feeling something else, and you can feel that. You can feel the incongruence, right? Like you're that sensitive, and that's what Taurus is. It's really being able to be very clued in to our senses. Am I making sense? If I'm making sense, make a heart or something like that, right? But it's this ability to really feel, and what we want to begin to do is come into a new relationship to our sensory body. And like for me, for instance, I have a Pisces rising. Pisces rising, I can feel things long before they get here, long before they come. Like I just can sense, like, oh, this is happening, or and I might, and I can be so ahead of my time that if I say it out loud, what I feel, people will be like, you're crazy, right? And so but what that shows up as in our lives, or like in relationships with women or as a woman, right? It's like you're in a relationship with a man and you're so sensitive and you can feel everything, and you are told not to feel. You are told, you're too much, you're too sensitive, so you start to override your feelings, right? So that experience with my son at the beach, like he could feel that he was in a conversation with somebody who felt masculine to him. Their energy was more masculine, but they wanted to be called, and they could have even been going through a shift where they were figuring it out for themselves, not really clear mentally, deciding what language they were going to use, like who are they going to really begin to present as. But my son could feel that this person is presenting as a masculine, as a he, and didn't have the filters that we begin to develop, where we begin to sort of override our feelings, where we begin to sort of, what we do is we lie. It's we all agree to it. We all agree that this is the way to behave, and so you put yourself away, right? Like you're not going to say what you really feel. You're not gonna, like I was talking to a client the other day, and she was saying, a very young woman, and she was saying that she's in this environment where she feels the men there are energetically being intrusive and breaking her boundaries. She can feel it. And sometimes they say something, but she can feel them being predatory around her energetically. And she feels afraid to say something about it because she's just sensing it, right? It's just the sensory, but we know that it's real, right? And then we override it and we override it, and then it turns into something that is graver than what it could have been had we listened, right? So this thing, to use my son as an example, I had to pull him aside and say, I understand that you are experiencing this person as a man, as a male. But this person is saying that they are a woman. So I need you to do what they want you to do. And so literally I was just asking him, and it's the easy way to talk about it is I was asking him to lie. I was asking him to deny his senses, to deny what he was feeling and do what the person was at, right? So, how many of us have spent our lives doing that, denying our senses? And that's what this Taurus full moon is about. It's your sensory body. It's really beginning to trust your internal world, because here are the things that are happening. So, it's a full moon in Taurus. Taurus governs our senses. The senses is the energetic level of it, right? So what it shows up as is Taurus is how you sense the world, then you build a reality based upon your sensory understanding of the world, right? So it's about values, it's about money, it's about work, it's about your self-esteem, but that's a sensory thing that comes through your senses, and you get programmed in it as a child, right? So but now we're having an eclipse here. So the eclipse here is giving us an opportunity to change the whole fucking game, really, to move out of your old way of being. When I tell you, this is like packing your house up, shutting it down, closing it up, breaking it down, leaving that place and going into a whole new world and building a whole new reality. And these things are hard to understand sometimes because it's about you just feeling it. You just have to feel it. You don't know it. The 3D reality hasn't made the changes yet, but it has to happen through you, right? So we don't want to go into old patterns. We don't want to, stay caught in blame. We want to really release as much of our energy, as much of our life force energy to sense, right? To feel, to be able to put language to what it is that we really truly are up to. So I know I'm saying a lot, but there's some basic things that you can do, right? One of the basic things is you can pay attention to your value system, right? Like like what do you feel, right? Really about trusting yourself. What do you feel? When I tell you I've been in so many experiences where I have been taught to deny what I'm feeling and act like something else is going on and not be in my own integrity. Just growing up in a household with people who were energetically dangerous, right? Some of us grew up in households with predators or people who were abusive or to themselves, not even just to us, but to themselves, abusive to themselves, addiction, all that sort of stuff. That stuff teaches you to not trust your feelings. because you have to function around it, especially if you come into it as a child. It's just the way of it, right? You come in this country and you're raised in an environment, and you go out in the world and you realize, oh, it's not safe to be a woman, or black people, all those kind of things. Those are things that we're indoctrinated in. So we want to you know, come into an understanding that those old things are done. They're done, right? Like, so, if you could have it your way, if you could really have it your way, the old reality is dying out. It is a slow process on some level, but your commitment to your own truth and growth and integrity and self-love is the pathway into a new way of being. And so you don't want to bring your old, quote unquote, disappointments into the new reality, because that old reality is done. It's really done, right? And so you have to give yourself permission to trust that you can come into a new experience, that a new experience is available. The new experience is like in a way that is in your wildest imagination, because the eclipse says that all things are possible. And because it's Taurus, it's like if you can just feel something different, it really is based on your senses, right? So if you can trust your feelings, if you can feel your feelings. So one of the things that's challenging, if you can follow your desires, one of the challenges I am having is that I don't feel good right now. I don't feel good in my body right now. And I don't feel good in my body because the sun is in Scorpio, moving through the shadow and these painful experience energies, right? So I don't feel good. So I'm aware of that. And I'm just asking myself to make peace with the fact that I'm going through a growth spurt. This is uncomfortable. And can I be okay with not feeling good? Can I love the fact that I don't feel good? It's okay. It's really okay. And if I can do that, then the energy opens up, it releases, right? And so be with how you're feeling. Notice how you're feeling. Like I feel like I've been overeating. My body feels tight. My shoulder doesn't, like all of that stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Just be with it. Just be with it. Okay. Not making anything up about it. Not being like, oh, I'm this age, or oh, no, just feel it and then love it. Then love it. My shoulder is tight. Love your shoulder. Give your shoulder some love and be with your feelings. And it's okay. It's okay. Right. So you want to really embrace how you're feeling right now, because Taurus governs your sensory body. So you want to feel, and you want to feel unconditionally. You don't want to judge your feelings, because the judgments create oppression. It's all, just remember, all of this is energy. All of this is energy. So we are allowing the energy to come in. It's a full moon. We're allowing the energy to come in so that we can use that energy for our desires. And why are we using it for our desires? Because the sun is in Scorpio. And Scorpio is about power and desires. And so it's about bringing that dark, deep energy out of the depths of ourselves, because it's all internal, all out of the depths of ourselves. And it's like opening up the energy in your second chakra and allowing it to flood into your body, into your mind, right? Because that's your senses. And then that will move you into action. Like, what are the new things you're here to do? What's going on right now? And that's why it's important. It's like you want to really understand that you are a creator. You are a creator. You are projecting a reality. So as you get clear about what it is you desire, how you see yourself in the world, what you're here to do at this time. You want to begin to project the feeling of that into the world, into your reality, so that then the universe can then just begin to build that reality around you so you can be up to what you're here to be. Um, Says, I've been feeling extra sensitive and easily agitated. I'm trying to drop the story. Like, yes, me too. Can I tell y'all, I am so agitated right now. It's really interesting. So someone is asking to be on the video. If you can on the video. I'm happy, but I don't want to join you in here and then get into a conversation that doesn't feel right, because then I'll have to ask you to leave in front of 30 people. Anyway, so you never know what you. I'm happy to have conversations with people, but if you guys can give me a message before, like, I want to join you live today or whatever, then I know, and I don't have to walk into something and have a surprise and have an argument or a hard conversation with anybody. Um, so yeah, so let me tell you about the things that are going on. The reason why this moon is so sensitive is that Pluto is in the mix. We also are starting, Venus governs this full moon. Venus is in Capricorn. The retrograde is starting. So we really are, it's going to be important for us to really get our emotional power, to really become the master of our own emotional world. And the thing that we have been doing in this world and in the country, I'm American, so for those of you who are somewhere else, but I think we've been doing this all over the world. And the age of Pisces is giving people who have authority our power, right? Like, you give it to priests, you do what people tell you to do, like your parents treat you like you are a child and you don't understand, like all of these ways we do hierarchical kind of ways of being. And now we all have to come into our own power and trust ourselves, and no one can tell you what's right for you. Like, that is over. The age of Aquarius says nobody can tell you what's right for you. So this experience that we're having with the health thing, right? Some of this works for some people, some of it doesn't work for other people. It's really understanding your own dynamic, and it requires a lot of responsibility. But the universe is graceful, the universe is loving, right? So if you actually um, work in tandem with your higher self, you're not alone. Like, you have ancestors, the birds, the trees, like everything is taken care of. Like, the Bible says, look to the lilies, do they not toil? You know what I mean? Like, you will be taken care of, but you got to get in your mindset that you will be taken care of. You got to believe that you will be taken care of, and you will be. And if you need proof of it, you look at trees, you look at the birds, you look, they're totally taken care of, even in all the world and the chaos and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to let go of the stories and the narratives that there are boogeyman out there, and that people are out to get you, and this will collapse and this will harm you. Like, you've got to purge your consciousness of the idea that you're not safe. You got to let it go. At least I had to let it go. I had to let it go so that I could open up for the possibilities that all things work together for my good. And as I let that tight consciousness of struggle and competition go, more abundance just starts to show up. And so you move into the idea that you are abundant, that you are cared for, you are loved. I envision in my mind the world just as I desire it and as I see it. And in my world, in the world that I live in, women really understand our unique power and unique gifts. We understand that we are tapped into the invisible world, and that we really are serving the 3D reality when we are cultivating our invisible world, when we literally go into our own invisible world and bestow blessings upon those in our lives. And because that's real, that is as real as, like, if you can imagine, if you can close your eyes and imagine everybody in your life just being swept over with $100 bills and health and love and peace and harmony. Like, that is the power of the feminine. And so it's like, create the world that you desire in your mind, in your consciousness, in your body, because that is how you have to create the world. There is no other way to do it. Because if you look at men, and I don't mean all men, I just mean the men that are in charge right now. The way that they create the world that they desire, because they're so externally focused, their power is external. They don't have the access to imagination and the internal world in the way that women do. That's why they are, they have less water in their bodies, right? So the water is the memory. The water is the magic. The water is how we access the possibility and give birth to a new idea, a new way of being. Men don't have that. So their energy is more external. So when they want to change the world, they create wars and bombs and things that, because that is how their psyches are still formulated right now at this level of evolution in our humanity. So women, women, we have more water in our bodies. We're connected to the moon. We can work with the energies, right? So you've got to hold your imagination that all is love and all is beauty and all is good and all is made in your image. You've got to make it in your image, but you got to get your fucking heart right, okay? Like, you know, like make some good shit, okay? Like make some real quality good shit. Because here's the thing, we're making this now, the way that the world is now. Women make it all. We make it all because we give birth, right? They all come through us. So it's all our creation. That's why I keep saying it's so important for women to understand that we are the embodiment of God. We really are it. For real, in a way, we are Jesus Christ. We are that thing. And so when we understand the energy of it, you really will give yourself far more credit than what you've been giving yourself. And so we are the creators of the reality, even as it is, because we've been so disconnected from our internal world. This is what the world looks like when women neglect our power. Right? So if you that the mythology of Oshun, how she went away and took the water away, right? So this is what the world looks like when it's absent Oshun, that inner, what women bring, we have to bring it. We can't have, we're not looking to meet it externally. We have to create it. We have to be the generators of it. So that is what this Taurus energy is about. And today, I haven't even said, today is a Jupiter day. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and blessings and love and luck and, just expanding. And let me tell you, expanding is challenging. Like we all love Jupiter. We all want magic. We all want to have the life that we desire, but getting there, the expansion and growing into it is hard. It is not easy. It is not easy to let go of an old way of being. It's not easy to walk in a world and see something and then know like, okay, I know what I see, but that I'm not paying attention to what I see. Faith is a real superpower. And that's what Jupiter is. Jupiter is faith. It is your ability to be able to see something that is not fucking there and live in it like it's there and act like it's there and be like it's there until the universe is like, this bitch is still begging for this thing. We're going to give it to her. and then it will materialize. So Jupiter says you have to be in the fulfillment. You have to live in the faith. You have to, when I was a Christian, it was like faith is the things of whatever the word is, faith is the activity of things unseen, the blah, blah. It's a real thing. Faith is like breathing. You have to live in the reality. You have to be in the magic of it. You have to act like it's there. You got to really be willing to do it. You got to look silly. Oh, I'm happy. Whatever it is, you have to, and you cannot think it's silly. You have to live into the reality. You have to, right? And so Jupiter says, who did God create you to be? Jupiter and Aquarius is like your God-given rights, your God-given talents, your God, what you're here for. Jupiter and Aquarius is not acting like things are good when things are bad. Jupiter and Aquarius is like, how do we get it to be what we really want it to be? Like, well, because we know what is possible. Aquarius is the mind of God. And I swear, one of the things that I experience about Aquarians is that so many of them are too focused on the 3D reality because you're supposed to be in the vision, the imagination, and that is not necessarily grounding. And so it's this ability to really be faithful to your Godness, your God energy. That's what Aquarius is. It's like innovation, things that are foreign, things that are out of the box. Like, do not look at the world for your Aquarian energy. The Aquarian energy is out of the world. It's out of the world. So we are not supposed to be looking to what is here for what we need. It's out of the world, right? So literally, who are you going to be? You have to dive into yourself and ask and be willing to be made new, be willing to be reincarnated as something else through your living experience, right? And that's an internal thing. All right, y'all. I love y'all so very much. The full moon comes in tonight. I mean, this morning at 12:30. It comes in at 12:57 in the moon hour, at the hour of the moon. So that's our internal world. That is literally like, give your Taurus is rich also. Taurus is comfortable. Taurus is money, right? So just imagine yourself in your most luxurious, energetic, like what would it look like? What would it feel like? Who would you be? Who would you be with? Your body. If your body felt really, really good, feel into that. What is that for you? Like, give yourself the permission. I always say to myself, give myself the permission in my mind to have it just the way I want it to be. In my mind, what would it look like? If I didn't have to consider anything in my mind, what would it look like? And that's how we access it. And then the rest will show up. The rest, then you'll know, like, oh, somebody will come and say, okay, well, did you do this? And then before you know it, you're in the experience because you generate the frequency from within. All right, you all. I love y'all so very much. I don't think I have anything else to say. Okay. Peace and blessings. Oh, yes, I do. I do. The full moon meditation is tonight. So you can register in my link tree. And then the Capricorn and retrograde class, Venus retrograde in Capricorn. One person is registered, and this is a great class. No, two people have registered. This is a great class. I want you all to know that this class is this work. This work. You can do it with somebody else, but this work is necessary for moving forward. It is so important that we build these energetic steps, because when the energy comes, you have to have grown yourself into it. I cannot explain the value of what I'm trying to say, but this is the best way I can do it. My son has a speech delay. Like I said, he has what they call Down syndrome. So he has a speech thing that happens. And when we got into like fourth or fifth grade, we went to a new school and we went to a new speech pathologist who noticed he was missing a development because there was something going on like in his, and she could hear it because she was a professional. She could, and I was sitting there listening to her and I was like, whoa, like this woman was in the details of his breath. And I want to say that energy is that we cannot, we got to really understand the internal work and how valuable it is. You get there, like the magic is real. The magic is fucking real. But the process to it requires real work so that you can become magical. And so the classes that I offer will help you get to that place. I just want y'all to understand that the steps are necessary, and so um don't take it for granted. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't take it for granted. And you don't have to do the work with me. You can do it with somebody else. You don't, but do the work. Do the work, okay? Because there are a lot of people out there right now who are understanding what's going on the planet and helping us do the work to shift. I am not the only one, but do the work. And maybe you can do it on your own, but do the work. And so this full moon is going to open up a new portal, a new energy, and Venus retrograde in Capricorn from now until March is going to be a very significant time for you to be doing the work with your emotional energy and body so that you can actually get your power. Because emotions, right? Emotions, motion, right? If you've been giving that away and to people and thinking and waiting, if you've been giving that away, you got to get that back and understand how you're using it so that then you can then direct it in the way that is for you to direct. And many of us, we don't, like, I'm learning this stuff in the midst of it, right? So do the work, do the work. All right, now I'm done. Peace and blessings. I love y'all. Talk to you later. Bye bye.